there, happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining me for a craft night with friends. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for beginners. And I'm here every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time that we can relax and craft together. All right, tonight we are continuing on the Catnap Under the Jade embroidery. We just got started. This embroidery is using several different number of strands of floss. So that's a little unique compared to what we usually do here. So we are using thick stitches, which are done with 6 strands of floss. We're doing those for the things that are closest to us in the design, and 1 strand of floss to make a very thin stitch for the things that are farthest away. So we're kind of doing a little perspective exercise, I suppose, with this embroidery. And it's fun. It's got kitties and a jade plant, so can't go wrong. All right, so let's get going again tonight. Here we are. Oh, volume is low. Sorry, how is that? I think we're good to go again. Sorry, you guys. All right, let's zoom on down for the evening. Okay, so here's where we left off. We did all the 6 strands. So here we go. Here's our embroidery instructions again. So on this side, this diagram, we have the stitch, what stitches to do and what colors. And then on this side, it's how many strands. So just to regroup a little bit, embroidery floss is made of 6 strands of thread. So you can see all of the 6 strands that you can separate in here. And they're actually, embroidery floss is actually made so it can easily separate. And that's on purpose, so you can divide up the strands into a smaller amount of strands. And that will give you a different thickness of line when you're stitching. So here's my little example of that. We have 1 strand all the way through 6 strands here, and then a few other types of thread. But for the 6 strand embroidery floss, here's what 1 strand, 2 strand, 3 strands, 4 strands, 5 strands, and 6 strands look like. And if you look at the name here, the floss, that's 6 strands compared to the thickness guide, that's only 1 strand. And you can see quite a bit of difference there. How much bolder the 6 strand looks than the 1 strand. So we're playing with that a little bit. So here in this diagram, we see it says what the number of strands are to use for the particular pieces. So the 6 strands are just these gold pieces. It's the part of the jade that's closest to us when we're looking down on the plant. And then, so the things that's closest to us is going to be the biggest, and the things that's farthest away, this cat and the floor, all that is going to be the smallest number of strands. So, and we got it color-coded here. So I'm going to be keeping on looking at this tonight. All of the 4-strand jade leaves are all going to be, we can just correlate them to each other here, and they are actually all still that dark green. So I tried to make that a little bit easy. All the green with the 4 strands is going to be the darker of the 2 greens, and then all the ones with 2 strands that come later, those are all with the light colored green. So I tried to keep that a little bit easy. So we're going to continue with those 4 strands. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. I'm going to have that nearby, so I can always look back and just make sure I'm stitching the right one here. So, and we left off with starting the next piece here. We're doing the back stitch, and I have a little bit of thread left, so we're gonna pretty quickly start a new piece of thread. But this whole guy here and these leaves above are all with the 4 strands. So it's not going to look too different than the from the 6 strands, but as we go along and go all the way down to 1 strand, it's going to have the effect of going from big to small, just subtly. So I'm excited. I think it's kind of a fun idea. I'd like to play with different number of strands more in in future designs, because it doesn't always have to be like the thing nearest you as the most strands. You can play with it in other ways, like how we were saying yesterday, like a floofy flower or something might have 6 strands, whereas like a really delicate, grassy bit might be done with just like 1 strand. So we're going to cruise through as much of this as we can get through tonight. Maybe we can get through all of the 4-strand leaves. That'd be pretty dang good, I think. But we'll be stitching this through the end of the week, and I suspect we might need another day or 2 on it, so that might bleed over into next week a little bit. And for these center leaves on all of these jade plants, all the smaller jade plants, except for these 2 big leaves here, all the small leaves right in the center, those are going to be single chain stitches. So we did that with this one yesterday, and all these other ones are going to get them too. But I'm going to stitch around first. And that's the deal. So thanks again, everyone, for joining. Let me know if you have any embroidery questions or just want to chit-chat about something. Almost done with this thread. I think we'll get the 2 stitches or so that I got here. I could use some more TV recommendations for just chill, relaxing, nothing dramatic, funny TV. That's like the only thing I watch now, and I think I can get another stitch out of here, another stitch or 2. So I'd love suggestions. I'm watching The White Lotus now, so no spoilers. I'm just in the first couple episodes. My husband's watched it all already, but I'm just starting it. All right, there we are. When did I start embroidering? Yojo Bubbles is asking. So I don't remember exactly. However, I do remember cross stitch, like vividly. So cross stitch is, basically almost a style of embroidery, I'd say. Cross stitch is the one where you do all the little X's and they kind of line up like pixels on a grid to make an image. And I remember a babysitter came over. So however old you are to have like babysitters. I had 2 younger brothers, so they needed a babysitter probably more than me. But I was still young too, young enough for having a babysitter. But anyway, so I'm gonna get 2 more strands out of here. We're getting 2 strands, and then I will fold them in half to get 4 again. So we'll eventually make it through these 6 strands here. But I remember a babysitter coming over, and she had a cross stitch, and I remember just like totally being hypnotized by the cross stitch and just all the different colors and everything developing as she stitched, and I totally wanted to try it and all that. And then I think from there, we went to Joann's and got some like Christmas ornaments, I'm sure, since that's the only cross stitch that existed at the time, and just went from there. With embroidery, I'm sure I must have done embroidery around that time too. I would have just guessed. I don't have a clear vision of embroidery like this though, but I do know that when I picked it up again, I don't know, maybe about 15 years ago or so, or more maybe, I don't know. It has to be more than that. But when I picked it up again after college, I feel like I knew stitches already. Like I didn't feel like it was a new thing. So I must have been doing it before then. I just don't remember. All right, I folded this in half because we're going to double up our thread again, but we're going to use the loop method of starting, which is awesome. You don't have to start with any knots. So I'm threading. I put the 2 ends together. So I pulled out 2 strands, right? but I'm stitching with 4 strands, so I actually pre-cut a really long piece yesterday and folding it in half. Now it's about the stitch length that I like. It's about 24 inches or so. And we're going to do the loop method here. I've threaded all 4 strands, so the ends through my needle, and let's do that loop method. Little Spicy Tuna is asking, is it hard to learn to do embroidery if you've never done it before? No, I think it's one of the easiest crafts to get into, honestly. I always kind of say, like, if you can color, you can embroider. We are just tracing lines with some stitches, and so you can just learn, if you learn even just one stitch, you're going to be able to do something. Like, I could do this whole entire thing with just one stitch, and it really almost is just one stitch, and you can create designs. So there are techniques and tricks and all that, but we go over, like, we have embroidery kits, and we go over how to do all that. And I'm here like every night too if you have any questions ever. Do you need to learn different stitches? You really don't. You can just like right now. All right, let's do this loop method quick, but I'll continue. So I've pulled my thread through, but I have this like loop at the end. I can just go right through that loop, and that's what's going to attach my thread to the back here. So I didn't even have to do a knot, which is awesome. I love this loop method of starting. So then I can just continue with the stitch. But no, you really just like, you can learn one stitch like this. This is the back stitch, and I can go over how to do it again too here. I'm just checking my pattern here. Okay, not that. This is the next leaf. That's green. But you really can go far with just learning one stitch. There's different ways to, transfer a design to the fabric you want and stuff like that. But really the easiest way is just to trace the design, like tape your design to a window and trace it onto your fabric. And then literally tie a knot at the end. I do have a few tips on that, but like literally you can just tie a knot at the end and of your thread and start stitching, and just like outline all your lines, and then you got yourself an embroidery. So there are like an endless amount of actual stitches. I have a free pattern if you're interested that goes through 14 different stitches, and you get videos, like an email every every day or so of how to do a different stitch. And then there's a free pattern with that as well. So in my profile you'll find that. But yeah, it's an awesome craft to start. It is super duper inexpensive comparatively to tons of other crafts. I mean, really, you just need fabric, thread, and a needle. It is helpful to have a little hoop like this, but those are also inexpensive compared to zillions of other crafts. And you can really make things as simple or as ornate as you want, and that's what's kind of fun. Like, we could take this same design, use different stitches, fill in the shapes with stitches, and it could have a completely different look. So it really is a fun way to just express yourself and try new things and that sort of thing. Oh, Therese says, I would never have thought of that loop method. Perfect for me, thanks. Oh, I freaking love it. So I've learned it recently as well, like this year probably. Well, it's already 2022. So within 2021, I learned about that loop method, and I use it whenever I can. So the loop method is great. I mean, it works best with if you're doing a stitch like the back stitch. If you're using a stitch where you come up through a hole and then have to go back down into the same hole, the loop method does not work for that very well. And it also doesn't work if you want to stitch with an odd number of threads. So like right now we're using 4 threads, which meant I could have just 2 threads and fold it in half. It's that folded in half that gives us the loop at the end, so it's always going to be an even number. But yeah, it's a fun little trick for sure, and so easy. Okay. Oh, Grace says, I'm missing the point on the loop method. I will need to watch it again. Oh, watch the video again. So once I'm done with this thread, we'll do it again for sure. I'll go a little slower through it. All right, I'm going to do these single chain stitches that are right in the middle here. I mean, I could just backstitch them too. I could just keep going with the backstitch, but we added, I usually try and have a couple different stitches in each design here. I'm going to come up at where the point of one of these kind of teardrop shapes is. And I'm going to make my thread go kind of in the same direction as that like teardrop shape. So I'm going to kind of arc around, and then we're actually going to go back in the exact same hole that we started out with. I still have this arc here. I'm going to pull the thread through a little bit, and then I'm going to come up on the top of that arc and on the inside of this kind of loop that I've made. And then I'm going to pull through, and by my thread being in the way of that loop is going to just stay there. Ooh, it looks like I got a little funny there. Let's pull on that again. I have one strand that's kind of getting away from me. Let's see. I'm gonna I can tell I'm in perfection mode. I'm trying to tweak this single little chain stitch so that it's just perfect. So one of the strands is just a little looser than the rest. So I'm gonna just pull on it until I find it. Oh, I can't find it. Getting real picky here. Oh well, there we go. So I'm gonna just finish it off with one little stitch to tack it down so the loop doesn't get away. And there we go. One little single chain stitch. Let's do the one on the other side. So I'm coming up at that point again. This just happens to be in the same spot as the other one here. Let's make that arc around our shape here, our teardrop shape. Go back in the same hole. And before you pull through too much, come up at the top of that arc inside our circle here. Pull on through. And there we are. And let's tack down that loop so it doesn't get away by just putting the teeniest tiny stitch just on the other side of the loop. And there we go. There's our cute little teardrop shaped stitch, the single chain stitch there. And we got another little jade plant done. Let's see, let's get some of these guys that are hanging up here. Those are all still with the 4 strands. All right, so let's get this guy. Man, you guys, we're keeping up with our walks, at least as long as we're at home here. When we were visiting my parents, we went for walks, but not our normal like 4 o'clock walk, John and me. But I'm getting a little sick of bundling up this much. I'm kind of ready for spring to be here and just being able to walk out in the clothes that I'm wearing. I'm getting a little cabin fever here, I guess. Although the walking does help with that, but man, I'm sick of putting all the stuff on. Oh, cool. Susan says myself and 2 friends are doing the Splendid Sampler too. Oh my gosh, how fun. I did the first one with you. I watched the vid before we do the square. Oh, that way I look smart. That's awesome, Susan. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, we still have, how many? I think like 28 more blocks to go on that project. So next week we'll work on that a little bit more again. That might be taken up a little bit by us trying to finish this project, because I suspect there's a lot of lot going on here. Oh, thanks for the rose, Kay. There's a lot going on in this design. Like it's heavy with stitches. It's not just like an airy little outline, right? There's lots going on with this jade plant and stuff, which just means it's going to take a bit longer to do. So I'm not quite sure we'll get done by the end of the week, but we're going to try. We're going to try. All right, I'm just going to see what else is right over here. Okay, we got the leaf that we're working on now, and then these two little bits there. And then I think I'll kind of go counterclockwise in a circle here. I think that's my plan. I always kind of like to map it out in my head a little bit. Where to go next. Like the path where I feel like I will use the least amount of thread. Oh, Susan says the Splendid Sampler one was fun to do with you. Oh, thanks so much. That, I feel like with the Splendid Sampler one, so this is a quilt along that we did a few years ago that had 100 different blocks by like 80 different designers or so. It was a book, and I got to have one of the designs in the book, which is cool. That was nice to be asked to do that. But I feel like I learned so freaking much about quilting and all these little different techniques of like niche different quilt things while working on that project. I feel like I became knowledgeable in almost all areas of quilting from that project. So that's neat. Like I feel like I could hold my own with anyone or know what they're talking about at least. Whereas before, I for sure hadn't tried anything, and oh my gosh, you guys. Ugh! I thought that felt funny. Grab the little corner there. Boo. All right, so we lost a stitch or so. Let's rethread the needle here. All right, I'm gonna, my threads are really kind of fluffy at the end here. I'm gonna just re-snip. So I have a nice clean end, and then we'll thread that again. I haven't done that in a while. At least I didn't get very many stitches into it. Haven't grabbed the end of the corner of the fabric like that in a while. I have done that before. All right, jumping over to, I think we'll get this with two stitches here. Okay, now where to? So theoretically, you want to look at what, we're stitching with the 4 strands, so you want to stick to what's with 4 strands. So I'm sticking to these leaves here, and I'm double checking those same leaves over here to just make sure that the color is the same. But I know for this design that all the red, the 4 strand leaves are all going to be the dark green. So I'm not even really paying attention to what color they are over here because I know they're all the dark green. So I'm really only looking at this just to make sure I get all the right ones. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, those are our next ones. Right here. I don't think that one underneath is. Nope, that's pink. I had a revelation today, you guys. I haven't tried it yet, but I might try it tomorrow. I've been trying to ride bike in the morning, and I kind of read my book, and it just, I don't know, lately I've been lazy. I've been reading my book for a little bit, but then like watching TikToks and stuff. But I had the revelation this afternoon that I think I could tat and ride bike at the same time. So I am tempted to give that a try tomorrow. If I remember to take it to get my tatting project out tonight, I might just set it over by the bike and see if I can tat and ride bike at the same time. But think about how productive that would be. I mean, it's productive, reading the book too. I do like that. But dang, I might just have to have a project nearby. I think that'd be fun. I feel like I can't get enough tatting, and I can't just find the time to do more. So that might solve that. All right, these two leaves. Okay, there is that one more. Okay, the one right next to us here. And I think I'm going to run out of thread at that point too. But I think I can get all of this leaf in. Oh, Susan says, me too, I learned so much from the Splendid Sampler one. The applique ones were a challenge for me. Yeah, me too. And the needle turn ones. Those are the ones that people think are so cool. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, those were definitely the biggest challenges for me, but something I was like determined, like I'm going to learn how to do this. Like the needle turn applique specifically for me was like, man, I'm doing the same thing wrong every time. There's got to be a technique that I'm missing, and that just makes me want to like learn what that is. Like if something is hard and and someone is making it look easy, they're doing something right. It's obviously it's practice and all that, but they've learned their little tricks. So that was the one that was kind of getting away from me, and then I learned just a couple tricks on that, and I'm like, oh, this is it. This is why we're doing this. Now I know how to do it. Oh, tatting and writing is, Linda says tatting and writing is like rubbing your stomach and patting your head. Good luck. Yep, that's my concern. Is that I'm just going to make a crazy mess, or I'll just like be casually writing, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work. But I like the idea that it could work. I might just drop thread everywhere. I don't know. But I've seen, people do it where they have the two shuttles and they're working with the one shuttle and the other one's just dangling there. I'm like, that's how I can do it on the bike. You can just hang out there. I don't need to set it on anything or whatever. Okay, done with that. Floss, man, that didn't take long to use that up. So let's grab my last two strands from that original 6 strand that we started last night. So, all right, I'm going to put the two ends together again. So our 2 strands will become 4 strands. And the other side is going to have that fold, and that's what we're going to do the loop method. So Grace asked earlier about the loop method. So the idea with the loop method, I'm just kind of, it's a little twisty. I'm going to see if I can untwist it a little. But the idea with the loop method is it's just another way to start your stitching without a knot, so you don't have that big knot on the back, and also without weaving in the ends, which is my typical way of starting, is weaving into the backs of stitches that already exist. This, you don't even have to do that, and it doesn't put like any bulk on the back of your piece either. The only deal, like I said earlier, is that you have to it ends up with an even amount of threads, because you're folding to do it, you have to fold the thread in half. So, folding 1 strand in half, you'll get 2 strands. I'm doing 2 strands in half, so I get 4. I should have done it when I did the 6 strands, but I didn't think of it until someone mentioned it yesterday when we started the 4. But anyway, so I folded it in half, and I've threaded the ends with I've put the ends together, and that's the side I've threaded. So I've threaded the ends through. I didn't thread the other way. Like I didn't put. There is a way where you can put the needle like at the fold, and then it's just a way to have less bulk while you're stitching. But that's not what we're doing with the loop method. Anyway, so I've threaded the ends here. I have this folded end on this side. So I'm going to start with a back stitch again. Let's see, let's do this little area up here. So I'm just going to start. I'm just kind of holding that loop just because I don't want it to get away from me, really. I'm going to come up and I'm going to go backwards like I'm doing a back stitch. But then I'm going to flip over to the back, and I'm pulling on my thread here, and my loop is getting closer to the end here, and I'm just going to put my needle through that loop, and then we are going to pull it tight, and the loop isn't going through because I put my this thread through it. So kind of like, even like kind of like we're making a chain stitch, our thread is blocking the loop from going through, and now I can just keep stitching. This is like solidly here. This isn't moving anywhere. So that's the loop method. It's just so easy. It's so clean and quick. It's just awesome. Susan, I'm definitely talking about a stationary bike. Not a outside bike. Although that'd be pretty fancy. I feel like I'd be able to be in the circus if I could do that. Tat and ride a real bike. Outside bike. Detached from the ground bike. Or from the living room. So this little trio up here of leaves is all the 4 strands, and then I gotta see where to jump next. We'll just do one big stitch here. We're fleshing out this jade plant. At least here. I'm gonna have to set my, I'm a little scared to do this, but Mom keeps saying I should do this. I gotta set out my jade plant out in the summer sun when summer comes along. Let it get rained on and let it get all nice and toasty. It's just not, it doesn't do well inside. I mean, I don't know. We don't have tons of sun in here, and I'm just a little nervous to take it outside. We don't really have a good spot to put it out there. But I think he needs to be a little happier than what he is in our house, and I think we'll try putting him outside and hope he doesn't die. Little jade plant. It's actually a large jade plant that I'm trying to keep alive. When my mom brings her jade plants out, they blossom and everything. So that'd be cool if this actually thrived and blossomed, and just afraid that I'm like slow motion killing it. Oh, it's already past 9, you guys. We have been using up the floss today, so I think we're going fast. I am trying to, I'm probably stitching faster than usual just because I am trying to get this done. I mean, I could do this sewing method of stitching. That would maybe go a little faster, but I kind of like keeping the design upright while I'm stitching, and I can't do that with the sewing method. So we'll go as fast as we can this way. Oops, thought I got a little knot. All right, got those 3. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of go around the bend here. So all of these 3, so boop, 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 are all the red, or the 4 strands. So not these 2 leaves, so just these 4. So this whole grouping and these 4. Okay, I can remember that much. And these 2 have the single chain stitch in the middle with that little itty bitty one. Oh, Noeline says, jade plants need sun. They are very hardy. The front door is usually the traditional spot as they are meant to bring wealth to your home. Oh, Dang, I should get that puppy out then. It can't go on our stoop because there's not enough room, because it is a really large jade plant. So I think if I just put it next to the stairs, I don't know, hopefully it would be fine there. Yeah. I guess there are other things growing there, so I'll have to like alt it, get in a corner. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Poor little guy. It's actually not a small plant, it's a big one. It is, like, this is proportionate. It is a proportionate to what this drawing is. It is like a huge on this little table. But it just seems like it ain't thriving, let's say that. So stitching this is making me feel guilty about my poor little jade plant. And then we have, like, you know, offsprings of jade all over from just like all the little leaves that fall off of that one. I should just repot those and bring them all outside. That'll be a while yet. I should probably wait till, like, all the way till summer, or super late spring, because it can still get super cold, and I don't want it to freeze either. Oh, original kitty cat says, yay, another person who embroiders. Yes. I love embroidery. It's just relaxing. I feel like it's relaxing, but in a different way than like knitting and crochet. Like, I feel it's relaxing in a way that you're still making creative choices along the way. Like, you know, even to the point of like making one stitch a little bit bigger than the other stitch, or how many stitches am I gonna do, 2 or 3 to get to the end of this row. You know, there's just like little micro decisions that you make along the way that I feel like makes it your own, and also still occupies the brain completely, so it becomes like super duper relaxing. Oh, cool. Original Kitty says, hi, crafting. I follow them. Taught me, and I just finished my first piece. Yay! That's so exciting. That's awesome. Congrats. That's just the best feeling. When you finish a craft project or an embroidery and just like know that you totally just made that thing that exists in real life. That's awesome. Ooh, we are running out of... Didn't we just get this new piece of thread? Gosh, we're almost out of it already. The heck? I am speed stitching tonight. Oh, Original Kitty, I will totally check it out. I'll definitely check it out when we're done here. Original Kitty says she's... or they posted their first embroidery on their page. I will check that out. Whoop, missed that stitch. All right, I'm gonna do last little back stitch here, and then let's do that chain stitch, single chain stitch. You can barely even see it on the pattern here now. I kind of covered it up, but it's right in the middle here. So again, going back in the same hole. Ooh, I don't have too much thread left here to do this, but let's come up and go right in that loop. So again, we're blocking that loop, which makes our stitch. And then we do that tiny little stitch on the other side of the loop to tack it down and hold it in place there. All right, let's see. Where are we next? Oh yeah, those 4 over here. I think I have enough thread for like maybe 3 more stitches or something on this next plant. Oh, Amy says, knitting, I feel like I have to keep count. I like how embroidery, I can just sit with friends and chat while working. Oh, that's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Some knitting, so I'm just thinking of knitting. Like the total chill knit projects for me are like where there's nothing. There's like no pattern, like a scarf or something, right? And you're just doing the same thing for the whole row. There's no counting, and you're just literally just making stitches. That's, I find, super duper relaxing. But I do find like where you do have to follow a pattern and do a bunch of different things in knitting, I find that like energizing. You get to like learn new things and with the pattern and all that. But for the mega chill knitting, just like some washcloths, that's like my favorite thing. Man, we're gonna actually finish this leaf, I think, with the thread I have left. I was not expecting that. 2 more stitches here. All right, 1 more. And we gotta get a whole new fresh piece of floss here. Haven't had to do that all night yet. We've been using that 6 strands from last night yet, all divided up. Okay, just weaving in my ends here. Okay, let's snip that. Stab it, scoop up the guts, and throw it off a cliff. Is that, oh, you like anger knitting? Stab it? Oh my gosh, okay, I'm seeing it now. Stab it, scoop out the guts, and throw it off a cliff. Oh my god, I love that. I've never heard that before, original kitty. That's totally knitting. Stab it, scoop out the guts, and throw it off a cliff. Love that. Oh my god. That's hilarious. Stab it, scoop it. Throw it up. I'm saying it again so I can remember that. That's good. All right, so we're starting fresh with a new 6-strand piece of floss, but I still want to do that loop method. So I'm going to double this up again like how we did last time. Double it up so it's the length, once doubled, that I want to normally stitch with. So usually I like stitching like with a 24 inches or so. So this is like closer to 48 inches that I'm folding in half. And let's snip, I got my matching scissors again today. Let's snip that piece off. So I got my super long piece, like twice as long as I normally like stitching with. And we are going to separate the 2 strands again from it. So isolating the one, pulling it on out. All right, and I just like running my hand through there again just to get all the stitches in line, so I don't accidentally get a knot at the end there. And let's get the 2nd strand out. So I'm going to do that loop method to get 4 strands. So I just need 2 to start out. Something tells me we'll be using up all of this green for all the rest of this jade. We got a whole pile yet to do here. All right, so let's match up the end. I'm going to just run my hand through there. Oh, strangle, stab, scoop. Oh, no, yeah, stab it, strangle it, scoop out the guts and throw it off the cliff. Yep. Oh my god. That's funny. All right, so I'm putting the ends together. I'm just going to snip the ends just so they're all just the same length. It'll be easier to thread then. Grab my needle here. And let's thread the side with all the ends on. And then the other side, again, is my folded side. That's what we're going to get our loop out of. Okay, let's see. I left off here. All right, we're going to go back up there. Again, since I have 4 strands that I don't want to get, like, tangled here, I'm going to just hold it with my hand here for a sec. If I was just doing 2 strands, like with it being 1 folded in half, I don't think I'd have to do that. But all right, let's do a back stitch. I'm going to start it and go to the back right away. Then we're going to flip over, and I'm still holding that loop here. Let's pull that on through, and I'm going to stick my needle into that loop. So now that loop won't be able to go anywhere. It'll be stuck on the back here. And just we'll keep pulling that, and there we are. Our tiny loop is right there. That's all we need to do to start. I love it. Loop method to start. And we just keep going. Maybe that's why we've gone through so much floss today, is we've gotten a faster start with that loop method. That could be. All right, I got these 4 leaves, little grouping of leaves, and then the tiny single chain stitch one in the center, and then I gotta look again where the next 4-stranded leaves go. I know they arc all the way down here. It's probably the bigger ones on here. There's some ones that seem a little bit larger, but I better double check. That's so funny. Stab it, strangle it, pull out its guts, and throw it off a cliff. That is totally 100% exactly what you do with knitting. That's funny. Ugh, I got to do some knitting this weekend, which is I don't get to do often, so that was fun. The sweater that I'm wearing, this is that sweater that I kind of updated. It was my mom's sweater that she had in high school, and it just fit funny, and it was just sitting in a drawer, and I cut open the middle, and I knit these cuffs on it, and then what I did this weekend, though, is I knit a collar onto it. So obviously it had a collar, but I added like 2 rows of this red, and it was just what it needed to balance out these red cuffs, and that was really fun. And I learned something new with knitting with that too. I had to YouTube it because I wanted to do like a rib, like how to pick up the stitches and do the rib stitching, and then how to take the how to cast off and have it be stretchy. And that's what I did with the cuffs, but I found a new way that is the same way as the cuffs, except for you do like 2 prep rows. So it's not as stretchy as like what these cuffs are. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect for a collar, because I don't want the collar to like veer out. I want it to like hold itself in. So these were just we did 2 extra rows that really didn't add any bulk somehow, I don't know, magically. And they did add like a lot of sturdiness to the seam, so man, that YouTube always wins. But yeah, that's just relaxing. I just love knitting. Although it is, I still am scared about like all my stitches falling off and all that sort of thing. Oh, and I already have another knit project planned, you guys. It's not totally planned, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. There are these like vintage stuffed animal snakes that that, you know, people used to block like the air coming from underneath the door and stuff. But we've had one forever that, gosh, someone in the family made, I'm assuming. I guess I don't know who. But it's just like, it just needs a friend, I think. So it's just, it's long, it's big, like it can go across the whole entire floor. And it's just cute. It has the cutest head, and then it changes color rings as you go down. I kind of want to make one of those with scraps, like each, like have like one set of rings that goes throughout, but then like in the middle of those rings have the other rings just be all scraps, different scrap colors, and like use it as a way to use up yarn. And then I can also use like small, like little bits of scraps of fabric to stuff it too. I think that would be cool. So I have tons of little scraps that they either have to be thrown away or I have to use them as stuffing. So this would work. That would work. This project would work for that. And I could use up just little yarn and still have it be, yeah, like a draft guard. You're right. Exactly, Amy. But I could just use up a bunch of stuff and knit something cute and something easy, theoretically. I'm just kind of excited about it. And actually, Pearl Soho has a pattern for one super duper similar. The head at least looks similar enough that I could use that pattern for the head. I think the body of the one that we have is a little thicker, so I'd kind of like to do it a little thicker like that. And the stripes are different. They're every other row, and I want it like bigger stripes. But anyway, that is on my brain as a knitting project I want to do, so I'll definitely keep you updated if I ever start that. I think I might have to stuff it as I go, too, which would be kind of fun. Or I suppose I could stuff it close to the end, but I'm going to have to, like, knit it shut. Like, because I think for the tail, you just keep reducing the number of stitches till it's nothing, so I can't stuff it after that, so I think I have to stuff it as I go. I don't know. I'm working it out in my head yet. I'm definitely still in the use up all the things mode, though. I just want to use up my scraps and make cute things. So many projects. That's okay, though. Almost done with this thread. Gosh, and we're almost done tonight. It's almost 9:30, you guys. So I think I'll get another thread started, and then we'll go to 9:30, and then we'll stop and we'll just pick up where we left off. So we really didn't finish all of this green, this dark green for the jade. We have the 4 strands. We have the one that I'm working on now, and then we got all of these guys here yet. Oh gosh, yeah, a lot. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little clumps of jade plants after the one I'm working on. And then we have all of these stems. So some of these stems have 4 strands. That'll be a different color. We'll get the teddy bear brown color out. So that'll be, gosh, hopefully we get started on that tomorrow. I don't know, we'll see. We got, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to just get about 5 clumps done today. Dang. So we might be working a whole nother day on these jade clumps. So let's say that that's the case. So let's say we get done with those green jade clumps on Wednesday, then maybe Thursday. Gosh, we might be through Friday. We might still be stitching this jade. Well, then next week we will, like, I want to finish this. So next week we'll get to the kitty and everything yet. I do, for some reason, want to finish this jade before working on the kitty, but we'll see how it goes. I'll have to find a picture of one of those, like, snake draft guards. Is this little bloop one? No. That's a 2-strander for later. I think we'll get this loop, this little leaf done, and have to weave in our ends again, and then we'll start up the next. Actually, I think I can get maybe like 2 more stitches out of here. Let's do it. Ugh, yeah, this is it. Last stitch with that. Okay, let's weave in that end. 1, 2. Ooh, just barely can fit in there. 3. Great. Scissors up here. Looking pretty good on the back here too. All right, let's get that next strand started, already lined up for tomorrow, and maybe get a couple stitches in, but then we'll call it for the evening here. Okay, 1 strand. We're getting that 2 strands out of here so we can do the loop method of 4 strands by folding the 2 in half. Okay, so I'm matching up both ends, so now we got 4 together instead of just the 2. Let's clean up these ends so they're easier to thread. Okay, and then I got my loop on the other side, or my folded end, I guess. Right there we left off. So let's start our next back stitch. All right, I'm gonna go in right away and then jump to the back. There we are. And let's catch that loop again. So we're gonna go through the loop. We're doing the loop method of starting and keep pulling until that loop gets stuck right there on the back. And we're good to go. We're ready to keep stitching. So easy. Do you change your needle size depending on the strand number? JW, I do not. Our embroidery needles come with like a really, really wide eye, so you should be able to fit all 6 strands in when you need to. I mean, it might be a little bit more difficult. You can actually fold 3 strands in half to get the 6 strands. So that would be a way to make it easier to thread. When you would, I think it's kind of more on the fabric to change. Well, yeah, I guess it's what fabric you're using and what thread. For embroidery, if you're just using the 6-strand embroidery floss, you just want a big eye to get the floss in. But you may want a thinner needle or a thicker needle depending on what fabric you're stitching on. So if you're stitching onto like a really delicate, I don't know, like silk or something, you may want a thinner needle, or some really tightly woven fabric. Where this thicker needle is harder to get through, harder to pull through, you might want a thinner needle. But you still want to be able to thread the floss through, which means the eye still needs to be big enough. So I'm using a size 5 embroidery needle. And these are ones that we had manufactured. So they had like a little larger eye. It's kind of closer to maybe like a crewel needle. But no, I don't change the sizes. I do change it like if I'm hand stitching, like with sewing thread or something. You know, if I'm stitching like a fabric edge or something, or like a little applique piece with sewing thread, then I don't need an eye as big, and I want a really thin needle, so it's easier to go through layers of fabric. So then I'll switch the needle to that. But for embroidery, I really don't veer from this. So no, I have not changed my needle for the different sizes of floss in this case. I could see that one maybe would want to change, just depending on, again, on the fabric that they're using, but change, oh, I'm already at this part. Change the thread for maybe the needle to maybe a thinner needle for like, where you're stitching with one strand, just because maybe the hole that it makes is smaller when it goes in the fabric. Because I mean, right now, all the holes are being hidden by the thick thread here. But maybe with like just the one strand, you might be able to see like a big needle hole a little bit more, but I don't know. I don't think that's really a problem. So this one I stitched with the same thread, and I don't know. I think it looks totally fine with the one strand there. I think the one would do just fine. Which is nice too, because then you don't have to switch needles all the time. Alright, I guess we ended up finishing this guy tonight. I just kept going here. Gosh, and we're almost, like, we are short on thread already, I feel like. Maybe I needed a longer piece to start out with. Anyway, let's tack down this chain stitch here. Let's just, I'm just gonna get my needle in the up position, so I'm gonna just go to the next one here. Actually, I think I did these these ones on the side as chain stitches. I'm just gonna do them quick. I know we're over our time now, but now I kind of just want to finish this thread. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll just go till this thread is done. That might take a little time yet. But then we'll be a little bit farther for tomorrow, which is nice. There, 2 big chain stitches. Oh, that one got a little funny. There we are. Just stitch these little guys quick. JW says, I normally have to change size. Oh, when you stitch on felt, a small needle doesn't put a big enough hole. Oh, interesting. Oh, for all 6 strands. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. That would make sense. I think it's tough when the eye gets too fat and you're trying to pull through a really dense fabric. Like with 6 strands, even with like a quilting weight fabric, so like a quality fabric from like a fabric store that you'd quilt with, like sew with, that can be much more tightly woven than like just the muslin that we're using here. So that really is tough to pull 6 strands through, and it can make it not fun too, which sucks. So in that case, first of all, maybe 6 strands is too much for that fabric. But yeah, you're going to want a sharp needle that can stab through a fabric like that. But yeah, a thin one. Oh gosh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, a thick one like this could make a hole that's big enough to like have enough space to pull that 6 strands through, but sometimes it's just those 6 strands are too much. And if that is the case, like I said, do 3 strands and fold it in half, and then put your needle just through the 3 strands. I know I only have 2 here, but pretend it's 3. You thread there, and then you bring it up, and then you have your needle is at the fold, and then the folded together piece will end up being 6 strands. But you're actually only pulling through 6 strands, versus if you have 6 strands and you thread it and then you fold it over, just like how thread is normally on a needle, like this, that fold over, you're actually pulling 12 strands through, right? So that can be really tough. So if you just do 3 strands and fold it in half and you're on that loop part of it with the needle, then it's really just only the 6 strands you're pulling through at once, not 12 by doubling it up like that, if that makes sense. So if you're struggling with the 6 strands, yeah, I would try and construct the 6 strands from 3 strands folded in half. Then you only have to put 3 strands on the needle and only pull 6 through at once. Oh yeah, needle grippers, like those rubber fingers and stuff, but it's just so much stress on the hands to have to really yank the needle through each time. So that's no fun. But I totally get what you're saying. That can be tough. All right, geez, we got all these down here too. Did I not count those earlier? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 to do yet. I think we can finish those tomorrow. So, all right, I think we'll just come up. Let's see, should I go down here first? I should probably go down here first, I think. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to jump down here as our next one. But I think, oh gosh, I'm almost done. Let's just keep going. I was like, I think I'll just stop on this one tonight because we're already over. But gosh, it's annoying to leave just that tiny bit of thread left. I'm going to just finish it, tuck it in, and we'll start a new thread tomorrow. It's basically what I said 10 minutes ago when I started this thread, but I won't even put the thread on the needle this time. I will just set the needle down. Couple more stitches. Yeah. I think we'll finish this little leaf up here. Well, good. Then we'll get more done tomorrow. That'll be good. It'd still be kind of cool if we finish this week. I just don't, or by Friday, I just not quite seeing it. Ooh, I think I can get these 2 little guys down here as well. Oh, whoops. Oh, I think I stitched this. Oh, this was supposed to be the lighter color. Oh, well. It's the darker color now. This little one that I just stitched was supposed to be with 2 strands later, but oh well. It's with 4 strands in this color now. Whoops. That's how it goes. Start making mistakes when it gets late. All right, let's weave in the end. And call it an evening. All right, so there's our progress for tonight. Pretty good, because we only had like, I don't know, like this much done at the beginning of the evening. So got a few more little jade plants speckled throughout there. So that's looking good. All right, so thank you guys again. I'm hopeful that we'll still get this done relatively quick. I know we squeezed in a few extra little bits at the end there, so that's good. Yeah, so we'll keep working on those little jades tomorrow. We'll actually keep working with the 4 strands of floss. So after we finish these jade plants that are the 4 strands, we'll do the stems of the jade plants that are 4 strands, and then we'll jump to the 2 strands after that. So we're gradually making our way down all the way to the 1 strand part, which is way at the bottom, the kitty and the rug and that sort of thing. So, all right, you guys, have a fabulous rest of your Tuesday, and I will see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Have a lovely evening. Good night. Oh, hey, JW, I design all of our patterns.